new wave of lawsuits that are filed against Sean Diddy Combs.
6 more civil lawsuits filed against Diddy.
Sean Diddy Combs. Major new allegations today of sexual assault and exploitation by Combs.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him.
He was assaulted by Combs in '97.
He says, quote, many powerful people, there are many dirty secrets.
3 separate anonymous suits were filed just last week by men accusing Combs of putting in their drinks and then allegedly raping them.
Busby says the victims include both men and women, and he says some of them were murders.
You remember when Sean Combs and his legal team were trying to get copies of those alleged tapes tied to his criminal case? The judge has finally made a decision on that, and it's a big one. This case has been surrounded by controversy, speculation, and intense legal battles, and now we have major updates.
Sean Diddy Combs has been slammed with another lawsuit.
2 more victims, 2 more women that the feds are calling victims of Diddy and his criminal operation.
The judge overseeing Sean Combs' criminal case, Judge Aaron Subramanian from the Southern District of New York, has issued 2 key rulings that could have a major impact on the trial. These decisions center around a set of videos, widely known in the case as the freak-off tapes.
Sean Diddy Combs. His lawyers are claiming that videos of so-called freak-offs. Prosecutors received 9 videos of alleged parties.
The hip-hop world is on fire with controversy as yet another bombshell drops. Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most influential figures in the music industry, is now facing a mounting legal crisis.
Combs had exploited women and other people for years.
Already battling a wave of lawsuits, the rap mogul is now at the center of 2 shocking new claims that threaten to destroy his empire.
Sean Diddy Combs is what's trending in true crime. The superseding indictment filed Thursday doesn't contain new charges, but it is filled with new accusations of criminal behavior, including claims that at least 3 women were forced to engage in commercial acts.
High-profile attorney Tony Busby, known for aggressively pursuing celebrities in court, has just filed lawsuits on behalf of 2 men who allege they were assaulted by Combs in 2006 and 2009.
Some new lawsuits accusing Sean Diddy Combs of assaulting 2 boys, one of them very young.
Yeah, in fact, the first says the hip-hop mogul assaulted a 10-year-old boy here in the city in a hotel back in 2005.
Now, let's break it down. Earlier this month, Combs' attorneys filed a request asking the court to order prosecutors to turn over electronic copies of these tapes. Prosecutors claim these videos are key evidence in the charges that Combs is facing. The government alleges that Combs pressured individuals into participating in these activities and that he personally recorded these encounters. The defense, however, says these tapes prove his innocence.
Combs' defense team says that the tapes only show private activities between consenting adults. The prosecution argues those same videos prove that Combs coerced and women into sexual activity.
These lawsuits are just the latest in a growing list of accusations against Diddy, who remains in federal custody on separate criminal charges.
Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested and is now in federal custody.
The allegations keep piling up, painting a disturbing picture of abuse, power, and exploitation. With decades of influence in the music world, could this be the moment when the walls finally close in on one of hip-hop's biggest names? Busby, fresh off his legal battle against Jay-Z, which spectacularly collapsed, isn't backing down.
The lawsuit was withdrawn by the accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, on Friday with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled. This lawsuit had originally been filed in December on behalf of a woman only known as Jane Doe, who claimed that Jay-Z and Combs when she was just 13 years old at a house party.
Combs' legal team argued that under federal rules, they are entitled to inspect and copy electronic evidence that is in the government's possession if it is material to preparing their defense.
Electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable.
But is he truly seeking justice, or is this just another headline-grabbing lawsuit aimed at a billionaire?
Jay-Z calls it extortion, and in fact, he is suing Tony Busby over that.
Busby has already filed over 20 lawsuits against Combs, representing both men and women with claims spanning decades. Meanwhile, Combs remains in federal custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
Sean Diddy Combs?
Diddy is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth.
Facing serious charges related to racketeering and trafficking.
The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and
trafficking charges.
He has pleaded not guilty, but the civil lawsuits keep piling up.
Sean Diddy Combs has been indicted on serious charges in what prosecutors call a long-running trafficking operation.
As Michael George reports, he pleaded not guilty.
Adding more intrigue to this unfolding legal saga, Busby was recently forced to dismiss a lawsuit against another rap icon, Jay-Z. The lawsuit accused both Jay-Z and Combs of assaulting a 13-year-old girl at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party in 2000.
Jane Doe, who claimed that Jay-Z and Combs when she was just 13 years old at a house party following the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards.
But just as the case was gaining traction, Busby abruptly withdrew it with prejudice, meaning it can never be refiled.
The lawsuit was withdrawn by the accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, on Friday with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled.
Jay-Z immediately declared victory, calling the allegations fictitious and appalling. This shocking turn of events has raised serious questions about the credibility of some of these lawsuits. Jay-Z's legal team took an aggressive approach, thoroughly investigating the claims and pressuring Busby to retreat. The dismissal sent shockwaves through the legal world. Was this lawsuit always weak? Or did Jay-Z's power and wealth expose inconsistencies that couldn't be ignored? Was the case fundamentally flawed from the beginning? Or did Busby underestimate the resources Jay-Z was willing to throw at his defense? Jay-Z's legal team didn't just deny the allegations.
Has actually withdrawn her lawsuit against both men. Both men have denied these claims in documents submitted by her attorneys.
They dismantled them. They scrutinized every piece of evidence, every claim, and every witness. They reportedly hired top investigators to dig into the accuser's background, looking for inconsistencies, contradictions, and anything that could discredit her story. The result was a legal onslaught that overwhelmed Busby's case, forcing the high-profile attorney to pull the lawsuit before it could cause further damage to his reputation. This raises an important issue. How do these cases hold up under scrutiny? Civil lawsuits, unlike criminal cases, require a lower burden of proof, while criminal cases demand proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil cases only require a preponderance of evidence, meaning the claims only need to be more likely than not to be true. This lower standard allows more victims to seek justice, but it also opens the door for potentially frivolous claims to be filed against high-profile figures.
Combs did not do this all on his own.
Their investigation into Sean Combs is ongoing, and now they say they've uncovered criminal conduct that does indeed span 2 decades.
When a defendant has the resources to fight back aggressively, as Jay-Z did, weak cases can collapse under pressure. While Jay-Z has emerged relatively unscathed, Combs remains a primary target.
An anonymous Jane Doe filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of and her at an MTV VMA after party.
Unlike Jay-Z, who faced one major lawsuit, Combs is battling multiple allegations from both men and women across a wide time span. This makes his legal fight far more complex and exhausting. Even if some of these cases are weak, the sheer volume of lawsuits paints a damning picture. The latest lawsuit involves a New Jersey man who claims he was lured into a modeling audition at Bad Boy Records in 2006. According to the lawsuit, the man, referred to as John Doe, responded to an online advertisement seeking hip-hop models. Excited by the opportunity, he provided his name, contact information, and several photographs. Days later, he was contacted by someone from Bad Boy Records and invited to their New York City office for an audition. Upon arriving, Doe claims he entered a room filled with other male models of various ethnicities. Combs allegedly entered the room and began examining the models one by one, shifting the conversation to their physical appearances. According to the lawsuit, he instructed Doe to stand up so he could check him out. Things allegedly took a darker turn when Combs pressured Doe to undress, implying that success in the industry required a certain level of commitment. When Doe refused, the lawsuit claims that Combs became aggressive, moved closer, and whispered a chilling message before dismissing him. Doe left the building feeling disturbed and violated. This lawsuit is particularly damning because it doesn't exist in isolation. It fits into a broader pattern of allegations against Combs, claims of leveraging his power and influence in the entertainment industry to exploit aspiring artists. Many of the lawsuits share a similar theme. Young individuals who were eager to break into the music business, lured into situations where they were allegedly manipulated, coerced, or even. The other new lawsuit filed against Combs involves an 18-year-old aspiring musician from California. The plaintiff claims he met Combs at an industry event in Los Angeles in 2009. Combs allegedly offered him career opportunities, including a potential recording contract and exclusive studio time. According to the lawsuit, the young man was invited to a hotel party where he was served a drink. Shortly after consuming it, he reportedly felt disoriented and began slipping in and out of consciousness. The lawsuit claims that Combs took advantage of his vulnerable state and assaulted him. The alleged use of drugs in this case is significant. The lawsuit suggests that Combs or someone in his circle may have used substances like GHB, commonly known as the date rape drug, to incapacitate victims. This aligns with claims made by other alleged victims, many of whom have described eerily similar experiences. If these cases move forward, forensic evidence and witness testimonies will be crucial in determining their validity. As these lawsuits continue to surface, the question looms: are these cases exposing decades of predatory behavior, or is this a legal feeding frenzy driven by opportunistic attorneys? Combs' legal team insists that these lawsuits are nothing more than a coordinated attack designed to extract financial settlements. Meanwhile, Tony Buzbee himself is now facing serious scrutiny. His credibility, once that of a high-profile attorney championing the cause of victims, has taken a significant hit after the collapse of his lawsuit against Jay-Z. What was initially portrayed as a bombshell case alleging horrifying crimes against one of hip-hop's biggest moguls quickly unraveled, forcing Buzbee to withdraw the suit with prejudice. This abrupt dismissal has raised eyebrows not just in the legal community, but also among the public, prompting questions about whether Buzbee rushed into high-profile lawsuits without conducting thorough due diligence. Critics argue that Buzbee's aggressive media tactics, which once worked in his favor, are now backfiring. By bringing cases that collapse under scrutiny, he risks undermining legitimate survivors, making it easier for powerful defendants to discredit allegations altogether. The dismissal of the Jay-Z case has become a rallying point for those who believe that some lawsuits against celebrities are more about headlines and settlements than justice. For many, it reinforced the belief that high-profile attorneys sometimes exploit the cultural climate to target wealthy figures, knowing that public opinion alone can pressure them into settlements. The legal battlefield is shifting. Jay-Z, unlike many celebrities accused in similar cases, did not take the conventional route of settling out of court to avoid prolonged legal battles and negative press. Instead, he went on the offensive. He poured millions into his legal defense, hired top-tier investigators, and systematically dismantled the case against him. His legal team exposed inconsistencies in the allegations, questioned the credibility of the accuser, and forced Buzbee to retreat. This strategic victory has set a precedent for how powerful figures in the music industry handle allegations. In the past, many celebrities chose to settle cases out of court, not necessarily as an admission of guilt, but as a way to avoid damaging publicity and drawn-out legal disputes. Jay-Z, however, demonstrated that if a defendant has the resources and determination, aggressively fighting back can work in their favor. His success in getting the lawsuit dismissed may encourage other high-profile figures to resist settlements and challenge accusations head-on. This is where Sean Diddy Combs' situation becomes even more complex. Unlike Jay-Z, who had only one major lawsuit dismissed, Combs faces an overwhelming number of allegations spanning decades. While some may argue that this strengthens the case against him, his defense team will likely take the opposite approach, pointing out that when numerous lawsuits emerge all at once, it becomes easier for opportunistic claims to blend in with legitimate ones. Even if certain lawsuits are weak or unsubstantiated, the sheer volume of accusations creates an unavoidable perception problem. In the court of public opinion, numbers matter. When multiple people come forward with similar allegations, it fosters the belief that there must be some truth to the claims. This poses a significant challenge for Combs, as fighting back against every single lawsuit requires a massive legal effort. Unlike Jay-Z, who was able to focus all his resources on one case, Combs is waging a multi-front war, battling both civil lawsuits and a high-stakes federal criminal case. Digital age. Reputations can be destroyed overnight, often before a trial even begins. Once an accusation goes viral, it takes on a life of its own. Social media amplifies every claim, and once a narrative is established, it becomes incredibly difficult to change public perception. This is especially true in cases involving sexual misconduct allegations, where public sentiment often skews toward believing the accuser, particularly in the wake of the Me Too movement. For Combs, this means that regardless of what happens in court, his career and legacy may never recover. Even if he wins multiple lawsuits or has them dismissed, the damage may already be done. The public often remembers accusations more than acquittals, and the stigma surrounding allegations of this nature can linger indefinitely. At the heart of this controversy lies a much larger discussion about accountability, power, and justice in the entertainment industry. The music world has long been plagued by allegations of abuse, exploitation, and cover-ups. For decades, powerful industry figures operated with near impunity, shielded by their wealth, influence, and the culture of silence that permeated the business. Victims were often afraid to come forward, fearing career-ending retaliation or being dismissed as liars seeking fame or money. However, in the post-Me Too era, the power dynamic has shifted. More survivors are speaking out, and the legal system is under increasing pressure to hold high-profile figures accountable. Lawsuits like the ones filed against Combs serve as a test case for how the entertainment industry and the courts handle these allegations. The question now is whether these lawsuits represent long overdue justice or if they are part of an opportunistic wave of litigation targeting celebrities. There are valid concerns on both sides. On one hand, sexual assault and abuse survivors often struggle for years before coming forward. The trauma associated with such experiences, combined with the fear of powerful figures retaliating, means that many legitimate victims remain silent for decades. The fact that so many accusers have stepped forward against Combs could be a sign that a long-suppressed truth is finally emerging. On the other hand, there's also concern that some attorneys exploit the cultural climate to target wealthy celebrities, filing lawsuits that may not hold up under scrutiny but generate enough media attention to pressure settlements. Busby's track record, particularly after the failed Jay-Z case, has fueled skepticism. If more of his lawsuits collapse, it could reinforce the argument that some cases are motivated more by financial incentives than justice. The legal system itself plays a crucial role in shaping these battles. Civil cases operate under a lower standard of proof than criminal cases, requiring only a preponderance of evidence rather than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This makes it easier for plaintiffs to win civil suits or force settlements, even in cases where the evidence may be limited. While this lower burden of proof allows real victims to seek justice when criminal prosecution isn't possible, it also opens the door for opportunistic lawsuits. As the legal drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs intensifies, more details are beginning to emerge, some of which could change the course of these cases entirely. Sources close to the investigation suggest that multiple individuals who previously remained silent are now considering coming forward with their own stories. While the lawsuits currently filed focus on incidents from 2006 and 2009, insiders claim that lawyers representing other alleged victims are preparing additional legal action. If true, this could significantly increase the pressure on Combs and further damage his already crumbling public image. One of the most explosive aspects of these lawsuits is the claim that Combs allegedly used his power in the music industry to manipulate, coerce, and silence individuals who wanted a chance at fame. The lawsuit filed by one of the alleged male victims describes how he was lured into a modeling audition at Bad Boy Records, only to find himself in an uncomfortable and allegedly abusive situation. The other lawsuit paints a picture of a young musician who thought he was being mentored, only to allegedly be drugged and assaulted. These allegations echo past claims from women who have accused Combs of similar behavior, creating a chilling pattern that prosecutors and civil attorneys are likely to focus on. Complicating matters further is the presence of federal charges. Combs is currently in custody facing allegations of racketeering, sex trafficking, and other serious crimes. If convicted, these charges could result in a long prison sentence. While civil cases have a lower burden of proof compared to criminal cases, the overlap between the lawsuits and federal investigations raises serious questions. Will some of these civil cases provide key testimony for the criminal trial? Will accusers testify in both courtrooms? And if so, will their stories hold up under cross-examination? Meanwhile, Combs' legal team has adopted a strategy of complete denial. His attorneys have gone on record stating that their client has never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, and that these lawsuits are nothing more than a desperate money grab. They argue that the wave of accusations has been fueled by the media frenzy surrounding Combs' arrest, and that lawyers like Tony Busby are taking advantage of the situation. Given Busby's recent loss in the Jay-Z case, Combs' team may be looking to poke holes in his credibility, suggesting that he is more interested in high-profile settlements than actual justice. The industry is watching this case closely, as the outcome could have long-lasting implications. If Combs is found liable in these lawsuits, it could set a precedent for future cases against powerful figures in entertainment. On the other hand, if he successfully defends himself, it could reinforce the argument that high-profile lawsuits against celebrities often lack merit. For Combs, the road ahead is treacherous. His legal team will need to take a two-pronged approach, defending against the federal criminal charges while simultaneously fighting the civil lawsuits. The defense strategy will likely focus on discrediting accusers, exposing inconsistencies in their stories, and framing the lawsuits as a coordinated effort to extort money. However, even if he manages to beat the charges, the reputational damage may be irreversible. As for Busby, his future as a high-profile attorney is uncertain. The collapse of the Jay-Z lawsuit has already dented his credibility, and if more of his cases unravel, it could severely impact his career. If he is perceived as an attorney who files high-profile but weak cases for media attention, it could deter future clients from hiring him. At the same time, if he wins even a fraction of these lawsuits against Combs, he could rehabilitate his image and solidify his reputation as a relentless advocate for victims. The music industry is watching closely. This case is about more than just Combs or Jay-Z. It's about whether powerful men in entertainment can be held accountable and whether the legal system can navigate the fine line between justice and opportunism. If Combs is found guilty in either the federal criminal case or the civil lawsuits, it could mark a major turning point in how allegations of misconduct are handled in the industry. But if he successfully defends himself and exposes flaws in the cases against him, it could reinforce the belief that high-profile lawsuits against celebrities often crumble under scrutiny. What happens next will shape more than just the fate of Sean Diddy Combs. It could redefine the way the entertainment industry deals with abuse allegations, the way celebrity lawsuits are pursued, and the way the public perceives justice in the digital age. With billions of dollars, reputations, and legal precedents on the line, the ripple effects of this battle will extend far beyond the courtroom.